I've always been a simple guy, never one to chase after the stars. My dreams were modest, a loving girlfriend, a cozy little apartment, and maybe one day, a kid to call my own. But that was still a distant thought, something to figure out when the time was right. My alley? It was with a woman like Avery. Stylish, beautiful, and always drawn to the finer things in life. She had expensive taste, and I did my best to keep up. I could have bought a car earlier, but I waited until I secured a promotion at work. With the raise came an increase in my salary, and naturally, my status rose with it. Avery noticed, and she wasn't too thrilled that I had been the one to make the upgrade first. She made it clear that she wanted a car too, but logic dictated that it was smarter to invest in one good vehicle rather than splitting resources on two old, unreliable ones. Life, however, has a way of proving logic wrong. We ended up getting a fully loaded car. Top-of-the-line features, multiple cameras, a dash cam, the works. I was thrilled. I took it out for the first spin myself, feeling like I had finally arrived at a place of stability. But soon enough, Avery needed to use it, to visit her mother, or so she said. Then her cousin came to town, and she took it again. Over the next month, she used it more than I did. Then came the first surprise. The car's electronics went haywire. I took it to the shop, where they managed to fix it up, but a month later, we had another problem. The hydraulics failed, and once again, I found myself back at the service station. Avery, frustrated beyond words, simply grabbed her bank card, kissed me on the cheek, and disappeared into the nearest cafe to wait it out. Left alone at the garage, I had nothing to do but watch the mechanics work. Usually I'd keep my distance, but today was different. Avery wasn't around to complain, and the lead mechanic, a guy named David, was chatty. He let me get involved, adjusting the wheel, checking the hydraulics, until another mechanic climbed into the car's cabin. "David, what's he doing in there?" I asked, waving my arms to get his attention. He glanced up casually. "Who's been messing with your wiring?" I shook my head. "No one." I took it to the master. David muttered something under his breath and went back to work. Then he pointed at the dash cam. "This thing bother you?" I squinted at it. "Yeah, the light's been flashing." I mimicked the blinking with my fingers. "It even squeaks sometimes." David frowned. "And what's with the recording inside the cabin? You filming for fun, or do you just not trust people?" I stared at him, confused. "What are you talking about? I don't need a record of my daily drives. It's just home to work and back again." He climbed out and handed me the dash cam footage. "Here, watch the movie while I finish up." I sat down on the dusty garage couch and texted Avery, telling her she had another half hour to work on replenishing my bank account. Then I pressed play. At first, the screen was blank, but soon the recording flickered to life, and what I saw wasn't just surprising, it was sickening. It wasn't just any footage. It was an explicit film, and the star of the show? My girlfriend, Avery. My stomach twisted into knots. Blood pounded in my ears. My hands clenched into fists. David, who had been glancing over my shoulder, suddenly swore loudly. "Avery!" A familiar voice cut through the tension. "What's the deal, huh?" I turned, and there she was, standing at the garage entrance, completely oblivious to what I had just seen. My jaw clenched. "A star?" I asked coldly. Before I even realized it, my hand moved. A sharp slap echoed through the garage. Then another, and one more after that. David stepped in, grabbing my wrist. "Listen, man, she's a harlot, all right, but that's on her soul. Don't do this. It ain't right to hit a woman." I froze. The rage inside me still burned, but his words cut through the haze. He had a point. I took a deep breath and stepped back. "Go home," I told her. "Pack your things. Be gone in an hour. When I get back, I don't want to see you here." Avery wiped the blood from her split lip, her eyes filled with a mix of guilt and fear. "I didn't mean it," she whispered. "Get out," I repeated. Go anywhere you want. Just not here. She hesitated for only a moment before slipping through the garage doors, leaving me behind. David, my unexpected guardian angel, clapped a hand on my shoulder. How about a drink? I blinked in surprise, then let out a bitter chuckle. Yeah, let's have a drink. He pulled out a large bill and tossed it onto the counter. Now, it's just me and you. I didn't respond. Instead, I slammed the gas pedal and sped off, aimlessly cruising the city streets. By the time I made it back to the apartment, Avery was gone. Her stuff wasn't there. The place felt lighter, emptier. A couple of days later, I found a folded note on the bedside table next to the couch. I didn't even bother reading it. I was already moving on.